Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, this is another episode of Total Rebound. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm here with my co-host and his co-host.
Honorary co-host today.
Double dose, double hosts. Coming from Jeremy's side. So, yeah, like I said before, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Total Rebound, which is a new show that we've been doing for a little bit, off and on. We promise we'll be consistent, but we are here to do like total looks, total recaps of various sports events, whether it's mostly NBA because we're both NBA fans, but like it's a time to rebound and take a look at what happened and give our personal thoughts. So,
So give me the remote.
Jeremy,
Yes.
game 3 last night. Trying to figure out what's wrong with the Warriors. Let's start there, and I'd love to hear whether or not one I'm overreacting, but two, like if I'm not overreacting, what are the key things that the Warriors may have some pending problems around?
Mm-hmm. Number one, it's too small. That small ball thing, it worked. You know, I'm surprised it worked this long. Boston is too big, too strong for them. Because you saw what happened in game 1. Golden State, they came out swinging, throwing haymakers, especially Curry. But what happened? Boston fought back. They took Golden State's best punch and punched them right back. And Golden State, I'm not saying they had it easy during the playoffs, but if you look at Boston, like the way that they swept Brooklyn, stopping KD and Kyrie, and then they knock out the defending champs Milwaukee Bucks. Then they knock out number 1 seed Miami Heat. They're battle tested, and plus, like this core group, they've been together for years.
Good point. Good point. I like the term that you gave, battle tested. And you're right. You know, I mean, I'm not trying to sidetrack the conversation, but for many years we were, talking about how the West is stronger than the East.
Not this year.
Huh?
Not this year.
Not this year. That's
this year.
that's a very good evaluation, a very good point. And because the Boston Celtics had to face some very, very hard teams leading up to this point, you're right. They've probably faced much tougher teams than maybe Golden State has, and I know people are going to say that's controversial because the West. I mean, although on the show we're agreeing that the East is a little bit stronger than the West this year, the West does have some strong, or did have some strong teams. They did have Phoenix. They did have Dallas. Everybody praise Luka, right? Memphis, right? So
Memphis surprised everyone. And then the Clippers, I was expecting them. Had they had Kawhi and Paul George, that would have been different.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But still, I mean, not to sidetrack that conversation again, but even if they had Kawhi and Paul George, I'm not sure that that still would have prepared Golden State for this situation. I can
Mhm.
say from my perspective, I do agree with you. I do agree that small ball isn't going to work against the Golden State, against, sorry, Boston. Um, I also think that just a piggyback, it's more than just
Doing
small
a
ball.
podcast,
It's number one,
basketball.
um, and you
I
can't blame him, right? I'm not going to
got a
put
third
blame because
co-host.
people say that that's wrong, but Klay Thompson is who probably the only person on the team that's been with Steph, who is basically playing his heart out all this time.
Mhm.
But Klay Thompson is, coming back from an injury. All right, we have to make sure we acknowledge that. But
Mhm.
they just don't have the, I would say the chemistry. They do have the arsenal. Like me, I'm
Mhm.
I'm Team Wiggins all the way, and
Mhm.
Andrew Wiggins is doing, I think, more than people ever expected from him, even though he
Yeah, I
was
thought he was a bust. I'm glad he's living up
right,
to his potential.
right. Wiggins was not a bust. I'm telling you, Jeremy. If I back a player, you better believe I see a spark, a little spark that I saw that no one did. But Andrew Wiggins, from the beginning, I've been behind him every step of the way, even before he got here, and even still, this is his first NBA Finals. What can you expect, right? I think
It's
it's
also it's
okay.
like when I hear stuff like that, his first NBA Finals, but this is his he's a 7 year pro though.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's 7 year pro. So I mean, granted, you play on the highest stage, but at the end of the day, he's still professional. He's still professional ball players.
yeah, absolutely. And you're right. Like, you shouldn't say that, but then again, like, we use this excuse when young teams lose, right?
Mhm.
This is the first time, right?
Yeah, in some
They're
cases, yeah, like
yeah,
I want to say, when did OKC started getting good with the three? 2010,
yeah.
when they lost to the Lakers in the first round,
Mm-hmm,
and then
mm-hmm.
like 2 years later, they're in the finals.
Right, right. So listen, I mean, what would you expect? What would Andrew Wiggins need to do in order to help Steph pull this off? Because yeah, you're right. The small ball is a problem, and they're not just going to get bigger overnight. They don't
Mhm.
have the resources. Draymond Green plays power forward to center sometimes, and he's been, I mean, he came up short last game, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But they can't get bigger, obviously. So, I mean, let's take Clay out the picture, right? Because I don't want to put that pressure on him. What would Andrew Wiggins or any other player on that team have to do to help Steph?
Um, Wiggins will have to, I would say, maybe play that Scottie Pippen top role, as far
Mm.
as do a little bit of everything. Um, Also, Jordan Poole.
Oh yes, yeah, Jordan
Jordan Poole.
Poole.
Because to me, he's the X factor, not Clay. It's him.
Mm, mm,
Because we seen Poole have these scoring outbursts or
right,
whatever, like a 1-2 punch. Like Boston's 1-2 punch of Brown and Tatum, they're legit. Like they could each give you like 27, 30. They could give you that. And Clay isn't the same type of player. You don't know
right,
what player you're getting. because he's coming off injury. And, me, I could relate to what Clay is going to because I had surgery on my left meniscus. So some days you feel it, some days you have it, some days you don't. Even Jordan, when Jordan tore his meniscus, it watched. No, don't throw that there. No. When he tore his meniscus, and we saw the up and down. You can see in his play in the box score. One game he had 40. Next game he might be in single digits.
I mean, it's going to be Jordan Poole. It's going to have to be Andrew Wiggins, both of them, because even watching the game yesterday, looks like Draymond Green can't hold. Like it looks like he can't keep up. He was guarding a Jaylen Brown at some point, and it just looked like this guy was going right by him. So, you know,
he cannot like it's like he's playing a mixture of jail ball, and it's kind of like he's trying to get to these type of Dennis Rodman type antics, but only it's like he's blunt about it. Like he's just like in your face. Like Dennis Rodman used to do some of those crazy antics too, but then he goes to the ref like, I ain't do nothing.
Right.
Raymond, on the other hand, he's just taking on, he's trying to get under their skin. Like that play on the boxing, like it's like you're gonna damn near choke Tatum on a boxing.
Right. So that's a good point you bring up. By the way, I want to just mention again to comment, like, subscribe, and while Jeremy is sharing his opinion, I am going to be opening up a fresh pack of NBA hoops cards. This is 2021, 2022 anniversary edition, and hopefully I get some good ones while we're talking. Speaking of the whole Dennis Rodman approach to getting in their head, I have a question. Opening the first pack, do you believe that this whole getting in your head tactic that we've seen and we've loved for many years, like from the 90s, like the Gary Paytons, right? The talking that like Isaiah Thomas did, Dennis Rodman, do you think that's a part of an effective part of today's basketball?
Yes and no, because like in a sense, like sports is just as mental as it is physical. So one of the reasons why we saw Rodman be successful over Shaq was because he was able to frustrate Shaq. He was able to frustrate Karl Malone. It's these mind games. Like Rodman will do all types of stuff. Like he'll box someone out, and then next thing you know, he's grabbing their butt.
Right.
So he's doing it in a way that the ref is not seeing that, but they are. So now the person that you're guarding, instead of him focusing on the game, now he has to worry about like, yo, what's this dude doing?
Right. And sorry, just to put this out, very fitting of today's episode. First pack, I picked Steph Curry.
Nice.
Who is
I gotta start my card collection again. I still got these cards from 1994.
Right. You still gotta
some Grant Hills like that in that collection of mine.
But yeah, those tactics were very effective. Joshua said Pat Beverly does it now, but I mean, is it a real part? Is it something that really messes with a player in this?
It could take you out mentally, because then like if you're discouraging that other person, like now it's like anger and stuff like that, and you're able to bam. Yeah. You're able to psych the other player out. So it does work. But what I don't believe is when Draymond said that, whenever I get a tech or whatever, we win. That motivates the team. No, it doesn't.
Nah. This is a
Trey
Trey
Young.
Young.
Like I know, like if someone is getting attacked, we pissed off. We cursing that dude out on the bench. Like, yo, what are you
Right.
doing? Like,
So I mean that's another thing. Joshua said Draymond is a clown. The second part of this conversation that I wanted to bring up is the fact that Draymond has a his podcast.
big
He's
mouth. Yeah.
30, yeah, 38 episodes in the Draymond Green show. Right after the loss, he did an episode, talking about himself, criticizing what he did, but just general. And I know this is controversial. Like, do you believe that he should be having a podcast during the regular season?
Um, I don't see nothing wrong with it, only because it's not like it's during it. Like you have practice, you have your games, but then you have your life after that. So whatever he's doing, like at home, hotel rooms or whatever. Like a podcast to me, that's not hurting no one. And in a way, it's kind of like it gives like a more raw, uncut look into things, because when they be interviewed by TV, they have to hold themselves to like certain standards, FCC standards. You can't curse, you can't say this, you can't say that. Meanwhile, on this podcast, anything goes. So it gives that freedom um to basically do whatever. So I don't see it harmful, but I know for a fact if I lost, I'm not doing a podcast.
I'm
And
in the gym, right?
yeah, I would be in the gym or thinking about, how we're gonna win the next game. But I mean, he's doing it win, lose, or draw. So I respect him on that matter. Like he's keeping that same energy regardless of what happens.
Correct, correct.
But
I mean, I'm not one of those people that say, right, just shut up and play. I think that's what, but asking that question, um, all ultimately people say you're just saying that they
what
only are
skill does he have
basketball
to work
players.
on? He could
Yeah,
try scoring a little bit more. Like I don't know why
like
they.
Draymond back in the day used to be good for double digits,
Yeah, but he was 20s. I think. How old is he now?
32 maybe.
32. I mean, he's still fairly young. Athletic, he's a little bit on the decline. Athleticism wise. I mean, he was never really a scoring threat. I
Hmm.
mean, to me, I think he's a tad overrated. If you ask me,
Oh,
he fits because I know I can't remember if I seen this question in 2 Minute Warning or somewhere else. If you put him on another team, does he have the same success? Does he have that same impact on another team? I don't know.
well, that's a good question, and not only a question for him, but a question for other people on the Warriors, right? I feel like the only person on that team that can go on another team and be impactful is Steph Curry, obviously. So it's the requirement to win in this NBA having multiple superstars that can hold their own and be able to pretty much be the backup to carry the team.
Multiple superstars. Well, does Milwaukee have multiple superstars? They have one superstar in Giannis. They got one star in
That's
Middleton.
true. That's
And
true.
then I don't know, where would you put Drew Holiday at? Where would you rank him? He's not a
I
star.
mean, he's just a hard
Good
player. I
player.
wouldn't call him a superstar, but
Yeah. But he forms a
also
big three. He completes a big three.
like when did the Warriors won? I mean the Bucks won last year, and
Mhm.
I'm just willing to be like they're like the Dallas Mavericks. It's like
Oh, one and
you
done.
you get one that slips through that got the perfect team setting and
Toronto
the
too. Toronto too.
Toronto, yeah,
despite all those injuries, they fall under that category
yeah,
too. And I
yeah.
think
They
it's good.
managed
It's good for
to.
the league also because Toronto, would that is that considered a small market? I mean,
Yeah, I would think so. Like it's not. It's like a not a U.S. based team. Um, hard to get to.
hmm,
The fan base is not going to be from the U.S.
hmm,
So,
so
um, not
Milwaukee is
just a quick check in on my break while we're doing this. I pulled Chris Paul,
CP3.
um, Bradley Beal.
He stays in Washington, by the way. He's gonna
Oh,
sign.
you think so?
Yeah,
Good prediction. I pulled James Harden, obviously not on Brooklyn anymore.
Trader.
And you know, you know, pulled the Russell Westbrook.
uh,
Anyway, yeah, I do. I think that the Bucks slipped through just like the Dallas Mavericks. Um,
I wouldn't say they slipped through. They just benefited from the. They was Durant toe from going home.
right, right. Okay, I guess, but still, I mean,
Hmm. They
I'm
got there.
happy for Giannis. By the way, I'm not
Yes,
gonna be a
very happy.
hater and say like
The
he didn't deserve it.
organization, just the way that they did it. It was like it was like a feel good story. Actually, them Milwaukee winning their championship. Well, I was gonna compare it to when Elijah won his
With the
with the
Oh, but
Rockets.
didn't Elijah win it when Jordan retired or something like that?
Yes. Well, yeah,
So I mean,
Jordan's championship. That would have been
if Jordan was playing, Elijah
Clifford
would be
Smith.
a ringless legend. So
This should be another topic. I've been going head to head with a few Jordan haters,
uh,
and they love to bring that up. Oh, Jordan was afraid of Elijah. I was like, no, he wasn't.
he was
No, he wasn't.
afraid of Elijah.
Yeah, that's what some people say. Like, oh, Jordan retired. I was like, the Rockets can even get out the second round. You think Jordan's really worried about them?
First
They
of
busy three
all,
beating. They busy
Jordan
three
wasn't
beating.
afraid of anybody. What are you talking about? Like that's
It
and
is. It's the uneducated, the non-ball players, the ones
yeah,
who they never dribble a ball or whatever, and they just type on through their phone all goddamn day.
right. That's kind of a.
Hmm.
I never heard that one. I'm kind of.
Yeah. Oh, it's yeah. The foolishness that I see out there,
Mhm,
like
mhm.
this other group that I'm in, like actually this guy he got a podcast of his own. I don't know. I think one day we should call in and just wreak havoc
Right.
because the,
I don't
the
mind doing that, but like, yeah, you need to. Whenever you see them talking that kind of mess, you need to back
mm,
away slowly and take a break because if you start to engage, you're gonna
yes.
hit a wall. You know. A little break. I got a Devin Booker.
Mm,
Um, and never lost. I got a Lamelo card.
that could be worth something
Yeah,
10 years
and
from now.
I'm still down at Oklahoma City Thunder. I got a little shy.
Okay. Mm.
Right. So yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah, here.
I do think that, you know, just to recap, the Warriors
Mhm.
need to get other people involved. Draymond needs to do more than 2 or 3 points or whatever he scored in this last game. Wiggins, you're right. He can't be afraid of the limelight. Not that
Mhm.
we know for sure that's what the reason is, but if it's any time to play big, it's now.
I think it's just more of Boston and their 90s styles defense
Mhm.
with a modern flair. They're physical. Um, they got size, and you know, that plays a big deal in it because Boston could basically um, manhandle them if they want.
Hmm.
I like they center Williams. You know, he's too much for Looney.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with that team as much as like some of the fans are, but like everybody's playing their role, right?
Mhm. Just like
Williams,
Chicago,
yeah,
during their six championships, everyone has a role. Once
he had
you
like a mega block on Steph Curry
mhm.
yesterday, and I was like, wow, and that's a part of being young, right? So
Yes,
another part of this is like, in the What's Wrong with the Warriors series is like a lot of the things that, or one of the reasons why people supported the Warriors is because of they're like veterans, right? They've been there, done that. And then you have this
but
team of, go ahead.
if you look at their roster, there's only three people from that on their roster that was on those championship teams: Clay, Steph, and Draymond. No one else.
Hmm. Hmm.
No one else was there.
But Steve Kerr, the
Well, yeah,
coach
you can see her, yeah,
and
but
coach, but you're right. I mean, it's only three, but it's still three more with championship experience than the Boston
Boston.
Celtics.
But
You
those Celtics,
know,
they got what, like three conference finals appearances under.
they
So
got
that core,
three
they've been together for a few years.
three spelling bee championships,
Mhm.
like two student of the months. That's all they have.
Mhm.
But I think there's a benefit to not being. Sorry, I think there's a benefit to being inexperienced. It's like you just put it all on the court.
Yeah, you
Um,
don't think you just play. I'm not saying reckless abandonment, but uh, not having to think or whatever. Me, I know I play better when I don't think. If I'm
right,
overthinking, then that's when you start messing up, and then you try to you know be a perfectionist as opposed to just going out there and just let the game come to you.
mm-hmm,
And I
mm-hmm,
feel
mm-hmm,
that's what Boston is doing. Like
mm-hmm.
that, 'cause that first game, the way that Golden State jumped on top of them, and I'm thinking, I'm in my truck driving, I'm listening to the game in the rain, and I was like, they about to. This series is going to be over in 4 games. They're going to get swept. And this is me thinking after the first quarter because Curry was hitting everything. But then
Right,
as the game started progressing, and I'm like, wait a minute,
long
Boston is
haul.
fighting back. Boston got that dog in them. I haven't heard that term
Right,
yet. They got that dog
right,
in them. So they took their best punch. They took Golden State's best punch and punched them right back. Now, of course, Golden
right,
State came back in game 2 as I expected, because all Boston wanted to do was come home with at least one, and they got the first game, and they won game 3 last night. Now I'm expecting Golden State to win game 4. The series is going to 7.
series is
Boston
going to
in 7.
7. I think I mean, I hope for entertainment purposes that you're right, it goes to 7, but I really think it could just be at 6. And like again, I want the Warriors to win for petty reasons. All right. I don't have any other good basketball reason but
Mm,
having um Andrew Wiggins get a ring
championship.
before this guy. I picked a Jimmy Butler.
Ah,
I don't know if you could see it.
mm-hmm. You don't like
Right.
Jimmy Butler?
Not a Jimmy Butler fan.
I like him.
Um,
I like the way late draft pick, right in the bench, and then like he emerged from Derrick Rose shadow. Like it's a feel good story. How could we
I
not
get
root
it.
for Jimmy
I get
Butler?
the stories feel good. I just don't feel good about how other players were treated in the trajectory of his ascension.
Mm.
Andrew Wiggins was one of those players who was deemed soft um,
Was he?
by him.
Oh, his days in Minnesota.
Right.
I mean, I don't think it was just him that he called. So I think he went after everybody.
He did. He went after Andrew Wiggins and he went after
Cat.
Carl Anthony Towns, which were the two stars of the team. And you know, I'll say it here. I think that Jimmy Butler is revered because a lot of the fans now are the same fans that Draymond Green disrespected. Um, they were watching 80s basketball. They got the hard nose history
Oh
of
yes,
being playing, right?
I would love to touch base on that.
Right. And we're looking for the nitty gritty angry player, and that's the role that Jimmy Butler has taken on. The only problem is,
He could
in
give you
my
40
eyes,
too.
huh?
He could give you 40 also.
I mean,
In
who
good
else on the
moments.
team is there? You know, it's to me, it's like this. If you have a team of 5 players and they're all second tier, the best
Bam is
second
second tier.
tier pick, huh?
Bam is second tier.
Bam is second tier. Jimmy Butler is second tier. Um, he's gonna give you 40 because they have no other options. Who else is on? Who else is gonna score?
What they
That
need
and
to
that doesn't make
do.
you good. That doesn't make you good. That makes you, you know how they say, water flows to the lowest point,
Mhm.
right? Like, yo,
If they could get Bradley Bill, that'll change things. That was a
here's my
rumor that
next.
I heard that they might, try to go after him, but I think he stays because of he wants that max contract.
So here's my next point, which not people aren't gonna like. I don't think if even if Bradley Beal came there, they would be able to be successful because to come full circle, the reason why I really want Wiggins to get this ring is because I feel that Jimmy Butler can't play with another player that's competitive in terms of talent and that might be better than him on the team. So if you go back to Minnesota, he was complaining that Jimmy Butler was complaining that Wiggins was soft, but they averaged the same points per game. Like something's if he's soft,
Could be maybe
ego.
his approach or whatever. Maybe ego. I know. Did you see yesterday's first take with JJ Redick having a meltdown with Stephen A about the quote unquote toughness of the 80s and 90s and how it was like basically trying to say like a myth or whatever. And
JJ Redick is another one that
Draymond
I
too
feel
had something to say with Cedric Maxwell. And what they need to understand, we're not saying you the player is soft. We're saying the game, the physicality, that was the way that is being officiated. Like you was there for our game on Sunday, right?
Mhm.
And you saw how the ref was calling these I'm gonna call them ghost calls because you know, like they call a foul on me after I block dude, and then I'm
Mhm.
sliding away. That's when they want to blow the whistle. I'm like, ref, I ain't touch him.
But
I
no,
don't know
but
what
see,
you said.
Jimmy Butler was directly calling his teammates soft. He
Yeah.
wasn't calling the
Well, that's
game
just
soft.
like, and that's just what we know of. Can imagine what I remember when Kobe called his whole squad soft, called him Charmin. He
Right.
got Jordan people in the face.
But the
I
difference
mean,
is
it
the
happened.
difference is with Kobe and Jordan is that they were the best players on the team. Right?
But
It's
Butler
controversial to
wasn't the
believe.
best. Butler when Butler was on
statistically,
Minnesota.
statistically, him and Wiggins were the same, and so that's why I'm
Hmm.
like, how do you call one? You can look it up. I went through this whole thing trying to figure out like, all right, maybe he has a point, but I'm like, nah. Like Wiggins actually points per game, everything was head to head with Jimmy Butler. So I'm like, this got to be some situation
Maybe,
where
well, maybe he wanted to see more toughness out of him. Maybe he felt he was a little too laid back. I mean, that could go in so many different directions, so many angles you could look at it as.
I agree,
So
but
I don't think it's most
let
necessarily like his skill set. Probably is more of like his demeanor, his attitude. I think there's a few players that's soft in this league, but they can still score. But I'm just talking about as far as like they mental. Like put it this way, nobody will never accuse Westbrook being soft.
right.
Nobody would never
But
do that.
it does, I mean, they don't have to approach the game the same way. And if you think that a player's soft, I think Jimmy Butler's purpose of being on the Minnesota Timberwolves was to be a leadership, right? He to me this whole thing it shows you lack leadership skills. Even if you were the best player, if he was the best player on Minnesota, his job is to figure out how to motivate each player. I feel like Michael Jordan, despite how harsh he is, knew what buttons to press for every different player,
Mm-hmm.
right? He studied them. He knows he could be abrasive to one person, but like, take this other one to golf. Like it's there's a way to do it. And it would be a fantastic, like I would agree if it was just one stop, but every team you go is everybody soft. Like he went to Philadelphia after that. Is everybody every team that you play soft? Sometimes you have
uh,
to look at
he had Ben
yourself.
he had Ben Simmons, and the way Ben Simmons is been acting, I think he
But he
nailed it on
also
the
had
head.
Embiid. He also had
Embiid,
Embiid. Like,
Embiid too. I felt like, um, I mean, I'm not expecting him to be like Elijah one, but he, he was like a
you think
little
Embiid
bit
was soft,
comical off court. His courting with Rihanna, and trust the whole process and all this other stuff. Well, it's been what 5 6 years. Uh, I'm still waiting to see. Still waiting to see.
I don't know. I mean, they said that when Jimmy Butler got to the Sixers, his
They should have
question
kept
is,
him.
well, who's leading here? And my question is, well, it's not you. Why don't you just come to practice and play? Like, why do you have to know who the leadership? Like, play.
Mm.
Where when you get to Miami, they're willing to give you that rope. They're like, yeah, this is your team. You get to do whatever. So, I just think the Miami Heat is the best situation for Jimmy Butler. Having Pat Riley, having that old school mentality. You got to Udonis. Even Udonis Haslam is like yelling at him, and he's not like he doesn't he doesn't well, I can't say respect it, but like he's not even you see some pushback there. He can't be challenged. He
Haslam.
needs to be he no Jimmy Butler. So yeah, I'm gonna say this. His story is a feel good story. He came, he had to live with another family. He got to this point. I think it is like a remarkable trajectory and ascension. But I can't let the story say that he has no wrong in the treatment of his teammates, even
Mm.
if they were soft. You don't tell people that, right? You're supposed to like go in the locker room, rough them up a little bit. You're like,
Mm.
you find out you talk harshly, and then you come out. But when it comes out to the public, you're just putting people on blast. So back to the original point, I don't know if Bradley Beal is going to work out there.
He's
He played with
busy.
Russell. He played with Russell Westbrook, but if he does, we'll see. And if he If it's successful, I'll come back and apologize on the show to you. If he's not successful, I'll come back and be like, I told you so. Right?
Fair enough.
Small break before we wrap it up. I got a Jason Tatum. My best friend, Damian Lillard.
Dame time.
You know, you want it because I'm like, we got the guy you said that Jimmy Butler replaced, which is Derrick Rose.
Derrick Rose.
And we got Devin Booker.
Another one?
Another one. So yeah, I believe that I hope the Warriors win just for that one petty little 15-minute rant against Jimmy Butler that I just had, but like it's looking like
Boston got
like the
Well, it's a
Boston.
question if Boston wins, does this loss does it change people's view on the Warriors? Because at one point, they was being viewed as, invincible. So if Golden State loses, they will be, under the Steph Curry, Steve Kerr era. They will be 3-3, 500 record. Do we view them the same after?
So that's a tough one, right? Because it's not like they don't have good players.
No, they got good players.
Yeah. So they can essentially say, no, we're going to come back. And I could also see them keeping the same team together because it's been financially proven that they bring in money, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
if Wiseman was there, I probably would have gave the edge to Golden State if Wiseman was there.
Well,
they need size.
I don't think it'll be the end, but it'll be very difficult if the Clippers are able to get back together and have Kawhi and Paul George. It'll be a lot more.
Which they will.
Yeah, so the West will be a lot more competitive. Staying the same won't help the Warriors. They're going to have to get a big, which means either you trade Draymond or you trade. They
ain't trading Clay.
Yes, you got to trade Clay.
They will part away with Green quicker than they would with Clay.
That's a question for the wall. I think we should pose that because why have Clay if you already have Poole and Wiggins?
They can't shoot as good as Clay. Those are two. Also, those are slashers. Those two could slash the basket, and you could just have Clay in the cut, catch and shoot.
That's a very expensive fourth option. I keep telling people that, and they thought I was lying.
Next year he'll be his number 2 option.
He can't. The Warriors cannot win with Klay Thompson as the second option for Golden State. Another question for the wall. I got a break for you. Got another Jason Tatum. Hopefully NBA champion Jason Tatum.
Frequent flyer.
Jaren Jackson Jr. I got a Luka.
Okay, that's gonna be worth something.
One of my favorites, Karis LeVert.
I wish Brooklyn still had him.
I got a Marcus Fultz and best player in the Lakers, Anthony Davis. And that's the end of my packs. I got some good ones. I got this pack upstate in Rochester.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta get some cases for them, but yeah, let's put that on the wall and let's make that another episode of the show coming up. Which we should try to do another one this week, but if not, it'll be next. We'll make official announcement. But who's going to be traded first, Clay or Draymond Green?
I tell you this: if Draymond Green is the reason why the Warriors lose this finals, guarantee you he'll be the one traded before play.
And he'll do a podcast
Guarantee.
episode.
He'll do a
Why
podcast
I got
about it.
traded. Why I got traded. Okay, with that said, we're gonna go to the wall and see real quick. Somebody definitely doesn't like something I said as usual. And nobody's scared of the Clippers. Wiggins is about to be the second option on the him and Jordan
the Clippers. Gotta show some Kawhi and Paul George some respect.
I mean, we'll come back to that because I'm very on the respect thing with them, but I could see why people are not too scared.
I hope that's not a Laker fan saying that because ain't no one scared of the Lakers.
Right. There is some depth to the statement about the Clippers. I mean, like Kawhi, I don't know if he could play a full game. We know Paul George can't play a full season, so. Like, is anybody really scared of the Clippers? Another episode to be continued. But, it's Dennis. Dennis from the Ignorant Thinkers podcast. Tune into their show on Side John on Saturdays at 10 a.m. They have some interesting episodes co-hosted by none other than Sharon, the chocolate writer, who is a member of 2MW. He's a 76ers fan. We need to bring him on the show one of these days because he missed the rant where I said Jimmy Butler could have played with Embiid, but was too busy in Jimmy Butler's own ego to, he didn't want to stay there. It wasn't like he traded. He didn't want to be there. But he finally found a team that has no other stars that could compete with him. And you still watch the game, and he looks like you. First of all, I used to say this about Carmelo Anthony when he was on the Knicks.
Oh,
he played.
Carmelo might be going to the Clippers.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on that. I used to say that Carmelo Anthony's problem was that he's too much of a team player, right? You watch him on the Knicks, and for a split second, you can't pick him out from the rest of the squad. He used to dress up just like Kenya Martin too. So it's like, you got the twins, Kenya Martin and Carmelo, both with the headbands, the armbands, and you're like, which one is which? Like when you can't tell your favorite, when you can't tell the best player apart from the rest of the squad just by looking, you don't have a best player, and that's what I feel like when I watch Miami Heat. When I watch them, I'm not like, oh snap, let me watch Jimmy Butler and see how he moves. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's at the park like, yo, let me get these shots up so I could be like Jimmy Butler. Like nobody's like, man, let me go to sleep early like Jimmy Butler. Like they're not aspiring to be him because he's not a star. Man. But yeah, and again, I'm not being disrespectful to Jimmy Butler. I'm just trying to just say that they need another person on the squad, but they can't do that. And then you have what I believe it's a rumor, but it could be real. I'm not into the blogs as much, but Tyler Hero is like, yo, can I start? Or if not, trade me. Like, yo, if that's an option, if you come up and be like, hey, either you start me or you trade me, and it's not an automatic option that you'd start him with Jimmy Butler, then what the hell is going on down there? You know what I'm saying? Like, he can't play with Jimmy Butler. Like, you can't put them together.
Problems in South Beach.
So that's something to watch. I'm not here to cause trouble. I'm just noticing that he's thriving on a team with no other stars, and they don't even have. I don't even know if they have the cap to get the stars. but that's kind of.
I think they do. They do what they has obviously. I think they will have to trade. They will have to include a hero in a trade package.
And
I
Hero's
forgot.
ready. Hero's packing his bags like, yo, where I gotta go? Where I gotta
If that's
go?
the case, don't be surprised if you see him in Washington. Possibility.
I won't. We're gonna leave that here as a 2MW prediction from Jeremy that like Tyler Hero might end up in Washington. But I don't see it. I don't see Jimmy Butler. Nah, I don't see it. This is his team. They're gonna die with him.
Mm.
That's how it is, Anyway, that was an episode of Total Rebound. I'm gonna go ahead and post that poll whether or not like who would be traded first on Golden State, Clay or Draymond. We'll watch the haters come out. The haters are gonna come out for me hardcore, but I'm gonna throw them your way, Jeremy, and say that was your
Yeah,
question.
I welcome all haters. I want
Yeah, and so we'll see what the results of that poll is, and then on the next episode we'll do a deep dive of Game 4 and the results of that poll. With that said,
this
this
game for
is
Sunday, right?
Game 4.
I think it's Sunday.
Tomorrow.
Friday?
Friday. So at least that's what it says on my thing.
Hmm.
And then Game 5 is what? Game 5 might be Sunday.
Oh, so I have a basketball field day on Sunday.
No, Game 5 is Monday. So
Monday. Okay. All good.
Yeah, at least let's do a pre-game Game 5 on Monday to talk about the results of Game 4, the results of the poll, and any topics that's coming up. Are you down, Jeremy?
I'm down. I'll clear my schedule. I'll make it possible.
Thank you. If not, we'll just do another. Do it Tuesday, but we'll let you guys know. Anyway, thank you for joining us for Total Rebound. I'm Jeremy. I'm not Jeremy. I'm Trisha. That's Jeremy. And we'll see you next week. Peace.
Next week.